Good thing we just had winter vacation. I really needed a break.
Yeah, me too. I feel refreshed and energized now that I went on vacation. Winter was starting to drive me crazy.
It was the lack of sun that was bothering me. In the winter, the weather is cloudy and overcast almost every day, and we have a lack of vitamin D. Staying mostly inside for a few months is fine by me, but an entire season of cloudy days is unbearable.
You're right. It can get quite depressing when it's always cold and cloudy.
Where did you go?
I didn't travel too far. I traveled domestically and went to the mountains. There I hiked and relaxed, but mostly skied with my friends. It was my first time skiing, so it was difficult. It took me about half of my trip to just learn how to ski.
Sounds challenging and fun. How long did you go on holiday for?
I went for 8 days. I spent about 3 days learning the basics of skiing. The rest of the time, I was skiing down beginner slopes and hiking. Hiking was especially interesting because we did it using snowshoes. They make it much easier to walk in the snow. With snowshoes on, you don't sink into the snow so much, and you can move faster and you get less tired.
Who did you go on vacation with?
Like I said, I went with my friends. I went with Laura, Clara, and Emma. They all have been skiing many times before, so they already knew how to ski. Clara and Emma were able to ski down the bigger, advanced slopes. Laura is somewhat of a beginner, like me, and so she skied down the smaller, beginner slopes with me.
What was your favorite part about your trip?
I liked the second half of my ski trip best. By that time, I already learned the basics of skiing, and I was able to ski on some of the easier parts of the mountain. What about you? What did you do over winter break?
I traveled internationally this time. I went to Cancun, Mexico. I went there by plane. It was a long flight. In Mexico, I mostly sunbathed, swam in the sea, and ate delicious local food.
Did you do any day trips or visit anywhere else in Mexico?
Yeah, I did a couple of day trips actually, because I stayed a little over 2 weeks. I went to the Mayan ruins nearby Tulum. It was very interesting to see such ancient ruins in the jungle. I also went to Mexico City for 2 days. It's a really big and bustling city. Very exciting. My favorite thing about Mexico City was the huge amounts of affordable, delicious food.
Really? Did you try any of the street food?
Yes, absolutely. There were many restaurants and a lot of street food, but the street food was probably the best part. Cheap, quick, and tasty.
Hi Emma, hi Mike. How are you guys doing?
Hi Sophia. Nice to see you here.
We're just talking about winter break. Did you go anywhere for winter break?
I did. I went on my very first safari ever. It turned out to be one of the best trips I ever went on. And it was much better than staying here in the cold.
A safari? That sounds exotic. Where did you go? What did you do?
I went to Africa, to a country called Botswana. It is beside South Africa and it's famous for its wide open plains, wildlife and river delta. Anyway, a safari is a place where you can look at animals in the wild. That means you can look at animals where they live, in the plains and jungles. We drove a 4x4 truck and saw elephants, giraffes, lions, rhinos and gazelles. A pack of lions even walked up to our car.
The safari must be far away from any city. How did you get there?
It was a long journey. First, I had to fly to Botswana. It is almost all the way at the southern end of Africa, so it was a really long flight. Then from the city I went to a small town by bus. The small town was already in a very rural area, so from there we went to the safari by 4x4.
So you traveled internationally too.
International and domestic travel. Domestic travel is travel within the country, and international travel is travel to a place in another different country. Journey. A journey is the act of traveling somewhere, usually somewhere far. Day trips. A day trip is a short trip or maybe even holiday that takes 1 day or less to complete, meaning You leave your home or hotel and come back on the same day. Wild. Wild is usually a noun or adjective. In the video, it is a noun. The wild is a place, a natural place, where people do not live. Wild is often an adjective used to describe an animal living in wild areas. For example, a wild boar. It can also be used to describe an uncultured and ill-mannered person, or something that is really cool or impressive.